Okay, so let's dive into this. We've got a fascinating case today. The uh, the DB Cooper skyjacking from 1971, still unsolved.
Right. It's one of those mysteries that just captures the imagination, doesn't it? An incredibly audacious crime.
Absolutely. Our mission here is to sort of unpack the sources, look at the key details, and try to understand why it still fascinates us.
And what's really striking is how it all started so, well, ordinarily.
Exactly. Let's set that scene. It's Thanksgiving Eve, 1971, Portland International Airport.
Busy time, holiday rush.
And amidst all that, this man, dark suit, carrying a briefcase, walks up to the Northwest Orient Airlines counter.
Northwest Orient, yeah, that was a major airline then. Boeing 727s were their workhorses.
He buys a one-way ticket, Flight 305 to Seattle. Gives the name Dan Cooper.
Just Dan Cooper, not DB Cooper yet. That came later, actually, a media mix-up.
Right, good point. So initially just another guy buying a ticket.
Totally unremarkable, according to the early reports and witnesses. He boards the plane, finds his seat 18C, I think it was.
And then he politely orders a drink.
Yep. A bourbon and soda. Settles in. Nothing unusual at all.
Until about 3:00 p.m., flights in the air, maybe 10,000 feet.
Uh-huh. And Cooper flags down a flight attendant, Florence Schaffner.
Hands her a folded note.
Mm.
Get this, she just pockets it.
Yeah, she apparently thought it was just, some lonely businessman giving her his phone number.
Happens all the time, I guess. But Cooper leans in.
Right. He reportedly says something like, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb."
Whoa, okay, so that changes things.
Okay.
Instantly.
Completely. The casualness is gone. She looks at the note.
And the note itself, calmly written.
Apparently very neatly written. It laid out the demands clearly.
Which were?
$200,000. He specified unmarked $20 bills.
Okay, specific, what else?
4 parachutes. 2 primary, 2 reserve, and he wanted a fuel truck ready in Seattle.
4 parachutes. Interesting. And the bomb threat. He had backed that up, right?
He did. He calmly opened his briefcase, just enough for her to see inside.
She saw.
What looked like sticks of dynamite, red cylinders, wires, and a battery looked convincing anyway.
Yeah, you wouldn't take chances with that. So the crew is alerted, discreetly.
Right. They relay the information to the ground. And
Right.
Cooper
Sits there, calmly.
reports say remarkably calm, sipping his bourbon, adjusting his sunglasses, just waiting.
That composure is almost chilling, isn't it? What do you make of that?
Well, it could be incredible nerve, or maybe experience in high-stress situations, maybe military.
Or just a really good act.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Exactly. It's part of the puzzle. So the plane heads towards Seattle.
Lands around 5:45 p.m. But the passengers, they don't know what's happening, right?
No, they're told it's just a minor mechanical issue needing attention. Standard procedure to avoid panic.
Okay. So on the ground in Seattle, the demands are met.
Yes. The FBI scrambles to gather the $200,000 in 20s, unmarked as requested, but they photographed every bill, recorded the serial numbers.
Smart. And the parachutes.
They rounded up 4 parachutes, delivered them along with the cash.
And then Cooper does something kinda considerate.
He releases all the passengers, lets them off the plane safely, along with Florence Schaffner and another flight attendant.
So no innocent bystanders hurt. Just the flight crew remaining.
Right. The pilot, co-pilot flight engineer, and 1 flight attendant, Tina Mucklow, stayed on board with Cooper.
And now he gives new instructions. This is where it gets really wild.
Uh-huh.
He wants to fly to Mexico City.
Mexico City. Okay.
Yeah.
But the conditions.
Very specific, very dangerous conditions. Low altitude, stay below 10,000 feet.
Slow speed, right? Around 100 knots, maybe 115 millibari.
Exactly. And crucially, landing gear down, flaps at 15 degrees, and the rear air stair lowered.
Lowering the rear stairs on a 727 in flight, that sounds incredibly risky.
It was. That ventral staircase was unique to the 727. You could technically open it in flight, unlike modern planes.
But the drag, the instability.
Huge impact on aerodynamics. It strongly suggested he planned to jump. That slow speed, low altitude, open stair, it all points to a parachute jump. So the plane takes off again from Seattle. It's about 7:40 p.m. Dark now.
Pitch black, stormy weather too. Just Cooper, the remaining crew, and the bag of money.
Flying south over Washington State. And then around 8:00 p.m.
Somewhere between Seattle and Reno, over the dense forests of southwestern Washington, the crew notices something.
What?
A change in air pressure in the cabin. A slight bump.
Indicating the rear stairs opened.
Exactly. Cooper had told Tina Mucklow to stay in the cockpit. They didn't see him go.
He just stepped out into the dark, stormy night with the money and a parachute.
Seems so. The sheer audacity is just Staggering. Imagine that moment.
Unbelievable. So the plane continues on.
Yeah, they eventually landed safely in Reno, Nevada around 10:15 p.m.
And Cooper,
Gone. Vanished.
what did he leave behind? Anything.
Not much. His clip-on tie, a black one, and 8 cigarette butts, Raleigh filter tips.
And that's it. The start of a massive manhunt.
One of the biggest in FBI history. Codenamed NRJack, Northwest Hijacking.
They had a suspected jump zone, right? Based on the flight path and timing.
Roughly, yes. A huge, rugged, heavily forested area in southwestern Washington, near Mount St. Helens, down towards the Columbia River.
So they search.
And massive search. Ground troops, aircraft, scoured the area for weeks, months.
And found.
Absolutely nothing. No Cooper, no parachute, no money. It was like he evaporated.
And the ransom money. Those recorded serial numbers.
They circulated the list worldwide. Banks, casinos, anywhere large amounts of cash might turn up. For years. Silence.
Not a single $20 bill surfaced.
Nope. Which is incredible. Did he die? Did he somehow manage to spend it without getting caught? Or just hide it?
It adds to the feeling he just vanished into thin air. Either incredibly lucky or incredibly skilled.
Whoa.
Or both.
Until 1980, almost a decade later.
Ah, the discovery. Tell us about that.
An 8-year-old boy, Brian Ingram, was vacationing with his family along the Columbia River near Vancouver, Washington.
And you found.
He was digging in the sand on the riverbank, Tina Bar they call it, and uncovered 3 bundles of cash. Badly decayed, but identifiable.
Don't tell me.
Yep.
About $5,800 in total. And the serial numbers.
Matched the Cooper ransom money.
Exactly. A direct link.
Okay.
But it raised more questions than answers.
Like, how did it get there? Miles from the likely jump zone.
Right. Was it buried there by Cooper? Did he die and the money somehow washed downstream years later? Was it planted? Theories abound.
It confirmed part of the story, but deepened the mystery of his fate.
Precisely. And the main bulk of the cash, remember, over $194,000, is still missing.
So the FBI keeps digging. Suspects.
Oh, hundreds. Over 1,000 investigated over the years.
Anyone promising. Ex-military. Paratroopers.
Lots of those, yes. Career criminals, too. People who resembled the composite sketch. Even a woman came forward claiming she was Cooper.
Seriously.
Yeah, none of them panned out. No conclusive links were ever established.
What about the tie he left? Did that offer any clues?
It did, potentially. Later analysis, using electron microscopy, found microscopic particles on the tie.
Like what?
Things like pure titanium, rare earth elements like cerium and strontium sulfide. Stuff not commonly found just anywhere. Suggesting.
Maybe a background in aerospace, maybe metallurgy or a chemical plant. It pointed towards someone with a technical background, perhaps.
But still, not enough for an ID.
No, just another tantalizing but ultimately inconclusive clue.
So eventually, the active investigation winds down.
In 2016, yeah. The FBI officially suspended the active NRJack case after 45 years.
Citing lack of new leads.
Pretty much. They said the resources could be better used elsewhere, but they do still review any tips that come in. The case isn't technically closed.
So Cooper, or Dan Cooper, becomes this folk legend.
Absolutely. The guy who beat the system, pulled off this audacious crime, was polite about it, didn't hurt anyone directly, and just disappeared.
There's a strange sort of admiration in some portrayals, isn't there? The calm, cool character who vanished.
Definitely. He's become iconic in popular culture. Songs, books, movies, theories.
And those big questions remain. Did he survive the jump?
That's the $1,000,000 question, or rather the $200,000 question. Jumping into a freezing storm at night into dense wilderness. The odds weren't great.
Was he an experienced skydiver who knew exactly what he was doing?
Or just a desperate amateur taking a massive gamble? We just don't know. The type of parachutes provided weren't ideal either, apparently.
But his actions did have lasting consequences,
Yeah.
right? Beyond the legend.
Oh, for sure. Aviation security changed because of him.
How so?
Well, for one, they invented the Cooper vane, a device fitted to Boeing 727s and other planes with similar stairs that prevents the rear air stair from being lowered in flight.
Directly because of this incident.
Directly. And it also contributed to the push for stricter passenger screening, metal detectors, baggage checks. The kind of security we see today has roots in incidents like this one.
So in a weird way, he changed air travel forever.
He really did. And that missing money, nearly all of it.
Yeah.
$1.5 million in today's value, roughly. Still out there. Or lost forever.
It just feeds the legend, doesn't it? Maybe he got away clean.
Or maybe his bones are somewhere in the Washington woods, with the money decaying nearby. Both possibilities are equally fascinating in a way.
So it stands. America's only unsolved skyjacking. D.B. Cooper.
You can almost picture him, can't you? Having the last laugh wherever he ended up. Or perhaps just a skull grinning in the forest.
That image, the mystery locked away in those forests or maybe in some quiet corner of the world, and the FBI files still technically open.
It really makes you think, doesn't it, about the audacity. One person, meticulous planning, or incredible luck, maybe both.
Vanishing so completely.
Leaving behind this puzzle that, well, it continues to baffle and intrigue us half a century later, how does one individual pull that off and leave such an enduring enigma? It's something to ponder.